U.S. officials told the Associated Press Saturday Israel has, quote, basically signed on to a Gaza ceasefire deal, and the onus is now on Hamas to agree to the terms. The two sides have reportedly been negotiating through mediators in Cairo and are scheduled to resume Sunday. VOA's Jeff Custer reports on what a ceasefire agreement could look like.
Speaking at the White House Friday, U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said the deal currently on the table would trigger a 6-week ceasefire that could include the release of most, if not all, Israeli hostages.
With the fighting stopped, aid will be able to flow more freely, and we hope at an increased level. And of course, the hostages, starting with women, the elderly, and the wounded, can be released in stages and returned to their families.
Jeff Custer, VOA News.
The chaos punctuated by heavy Israeli fire that killed 115 people trying to get flour from an aid convoy is a sign of the desperation of Palestinians trying to survive. AP correspondent Mimi Montgomery reports.
As the U.S. begins airdropping aid to Gaza, it comes as the chaos punctuated by heavy Israeli fire that killed 115 Palestinians trying to get food from an aid convoy highlights the desperation of people trying to survive. A UN team recently visited a hospital meeting those who were injured while waiting for life-saving aid. UN official Georgios Petropoulos describes the situation.
We have seen children as young as 12 that were injured yesterday. These events cannot be allowed to go on. We need to have safe, secure passage throughout Gaza to reach the people that need humanitarian aid.
Palestinians are particularly struggling to survive in the hard-hit north. International aid officials say the region is devastated by catastrophic hunger, with 1 in 6 children suffering urgent malnutrition. I'm Mimi Montgomery.
You'll find expanded coverage of world news and events at our website, voanews.com, 24 hours a day. This is VOA News. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention Friday formally updated its guidelines for isolation after testing positive for COVID-19, reducing recommended isolation periods from 5 days to 24 hours for people with mild or improving symptoms. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
More delegates are up for grabs Saturday as former President Trump looks to get closer to clinching the Republican nomination. And
CDC Chief Mandy Cohen says the new guidance is an effort to pair COVID recommendations with long-standing ones for flu and other respiratory illnesses.
Folks often don't know what virus they have when they first get sick. So this will help them know what to do regardless.
The change comes with COVID no longer the health menace it once was. Most people have some degree of immunity at this point, whether from infections or vaccinations. I'm Sagar Meghani.
Iran's hardliners are leading an initial vote count in the capital, Tehran, following a record low turnout in a parliamentary election. State-run IRNA news agency and state TV said Saturday that 1,960 from 5,000 ballots in Tehran had been counted so far Saturday. Officials have not yet released turnout figures, but IRNA said it was 41% based on unofficial reports. In the last parliamentary election in 2019, only 42% of eligible voters headed to the ballot stations. It was considered the lowest turnout since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Hardliners have controlled the parliament for the last 2 decades. Republicans in Idaho, Missouri, and Michigan will meet to weigh in on the presidential race. AP correspondent Julie Walker reports.
more delegates are up for grabs Saturday as former President Trump looks to get closer to clinching the Republican nomination, and former two-time South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley seeks her first win. Trump is expected to add to his delegate lead in Republican caucuses in Idaho and Missouri, as well as a party convention in Michigan. There are no Democratic contests on Saturday. That comes in May. On Sunday, the GOP caucuses in Washington, D.C., and then comes Super Tuesday, the largest day of voting of the year outside of the November election. Trump is on track to lock up the nomination days later. I'm Julie Walker.
German authorities say they are investigating after an audio recording was published in Russia in which German military officers purportedly discussed support for Ukraine, including the potential use of Taurus long-range cruise missiles. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz called it a, quote, very serious matter. Scholz earlier said he remains reluctant to send Taurus missiles to Ukraine, pointing to a risk of Germany becoming directly involved in the war. But in the purported recording, German officers discussed the possibility of the missiles being used in Ukraine. The German news agency DPA reported the Ministry of Defense said it was investigating whether communications within the Air Force were intercepted by Russia.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comments section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.